Warriors are not born, they are made in the Indian Army. Namaste to all. Today, 26 July, is commemorated as Kargil Vijay Divas to recognize and recollect the sacrifice and martyrdom of our armed forces. Kargil war was fought between India and Pakistan for more than 60 days and ended with the retaliation of Operation Vijay by the government of India. We observe this day for our brave soldiers who laid their lives on the front lines to secure victory against the aggressive enemies. On this day, the Prime Minister of India pays homage to soldiers and martyrs at Amar Jawan Jyoti in New Delhi. The intention behind such programs is not just to commemorate the sacrifice but also to inspire young generations towards national service and sacrifice. On this special occasion, it is indeed an honor to have the most befitting personality in our midst, Brigadier Venugopal Sir. He had joined in the Indian Army in 1983 and had served the Jammu and Kashmir Rifles Unit, which is known better to the famed martyr Captain Vikram Bhadra, the recipient of the Paramveer Chakra. Brigadier Venugopal Sir had served in the Indian Army for 35 years. During his service, he was a part of UN peacekeeping force and also served across the length and breadth of the country. He had been part of forces operating against militancy of Jammu and Kashmir and Northeast. He also participated to save people affected by natural calamities like earthquake and floods in various parts of the country. He tenanted many important appointments in the Indian Army. He commanded an infantry battalion in Northeast and Jammu and Kashmir and Chennai and an infantry brigade in Rajasthan. He was an interviewing officer for 6 years as a colonel and a brigadier and was awarded Commendation Card by Commander-in-Chief Andaman and Nicobar Command and also by the General Officer Commander in the Northern Command and Southern Command. I invite you, sir, to enlighten us with your speech.
Greetings to one and all on the occasion of Kargil Vijay Divas. It is on this day, 22 years back, that India made an emphatic victory over Pakistan, driving them out of illegal occupation of Indian territory. The war was fought in Kargil, which lies between Srinagar and Leh. It's about a 200 kilometer stretch of mountain ranges along this line that came under the war situation. This was occupied by Pakistan military, paramilitary and irregular forces, namely Kashmiri freedom fighters. The aim of Pakistan in occupying these heights were to dominate the National Highway 1, which connects Srinagar to Leh, which is the lifeline for every life that stays in Leh Ladakh region. Most of these defenses, as per the similar agreement, used to be vacated every year in September when heavy snowfall used to start till March, April when the snow started melting. However, in 1998, October, November, Pakistan, after India had vacated those areas, started occupying Indian territory. And they had made some emplacements where they had located their regular troops and moved in heavy equipment. This was detected on 3rd May 1999 by shepherds who were on their regular grazing tracks and reported to the Indian Armed Forces. 2 days later, a patrol was sent to ascertain the exact positions. 5 of them, under Captain Saurabh Kalia, was captured and brutally murdered by the Pakistan Armed Forces. Consequent to this, the Indian Army mobilized with a view to evict the illegal occupation by Pakistan. Pakistan at that juncture claimed that these are freedom fighters fighting for freedom of Kashmir and they have no control over it. However, these claims were proved false through radio intercepts and documents and other equipments captured during the war. The Indian Army mobilized almost 2 lakh troops. Mind you, in mountains such as those of Kargil, etc., there is a high ratio of troops required to evict anybody who has occupied those heights. It is almost 6:1. Therefore, for every 10 people occupying a piece of mountain land, it requires 60 people to evict them. You can imagine the quantum of troops that were required. These heights, these defenses are located at 15,000 to 18,000 feet high, with temperatures, with snow and temperatures varying from 43 to minus 43 to minus 54 degrees during winters and minus 15 to minus 20 degrees during summers. Therefore, there is always a fear of people freezing in low temperatures, especially those in the open. The high altitude conditions makes the density of oxygen being very less, it becomes difficult for breathing. Under such conditions, the troops that are inducted requires to undergo a certain kind of conditioning before they can be inducted into operations. So it took a little while to mobilize them and bring them into action. Meanwhile, the Air Force was also brought into action. In the initial days, the Air Force lost 1 MiG-21, 1 MiG-27 and 1 May-17 helicopter. During the course of which, we lost 5 Air Force air warriors, whereas 1 Flight Lieutenant Nachiketa was declared a POW or prisoner of war and subsequently released sometime in mid-June. The battle commenced with the support of the Air Force as well as the Bofors gun which were newly inducted then. They played a very critical role in success of the battle. Whereas there were many places where, due to the peculiarities of mountain ranges, it was near impossible to make the air or the artillery effective. In those areas, it had to be fought inch by inch by man to man. And these fightings had to be done in the pitch dark nights, because daytime they would have been easy targets for weapons well emplaced along the ridges. The first of the critical area of the battle was the Battle of Taloling. India had 3 priorities. One is to regain control over National Highway 1. Two, to evict the intruders from on side of the LC and regain every inch of land. Narrow ledges along the mountain ranges dictated very slow man behind man type of approach to the objectives. It made things pretty difficult. However, by 14th July 1999, every inch of land that was illegally occupied by Pakistan was evicted. And on 26 July, the battle, the operations were called off. The operation was called Operation Vijay by the Indian Army and Operation Seabird by the Indian Air Force. We had a casualty of 523 dead and 1,324 people injured, and loss of two aircrafts and one helicopter. Whereas Pakistan, it was estimated that the casualties range between 4,400 as declared by General Musharraf to almost 4,000. At least 300 bodies, 273 bodies were recovered by Indian forces and buried with full military honors. It was an extraordinary feat achieved by Indian troops, both the Air Force and the Army. The Navy had also mobilized to carry out blockade of Pakistan along the Indian Ocean. But what made it possible? Were they superhumans? No, I emphatically say they were not superhuman. They were ordinary people who were picked up from commoners like all of us and trained to become men of great grit and determination. Are you ready to join any of these forces and prove your worth? You are most welcome, but your preparation must start now. What kind of preparation do you do? One is to organize yourself to gain your physical and mental strength. Physical strength, you all well understand. Mental strength is your ability to withstand pressure when your chips are down. When you are defeated, your ability to stand up and fight on till such time you succeed. Your agility of mind as well as agility of the body to face high risk and yet carry on. You must have an extremely high risk-taking profile so that you could take the risk with the chance of death also as a question. It is at this juncture the real men stand up. Your social intelligence, your emotional intelligence and effective intelligence to find solutions, to adapt to a group and work in a team. Your teamwork, your ability to work with the ultimate aim of the team being supreme, and your continued determination to work and achieve perfection in anything and everything that you do. If only you are ready to do this, one must stand up and say, "Sir, I will join the armed forces." I am sure some of you would be impressed and would like to try your hand. I must remind you that only 10% of the learning happens in your classrooms. The balance 90% is learning out of your experience. If you are ready to learn from each of your experience, further build on it and improve your standards, you are a sure candidate who can join the forces. Thank you and Jai Hind. Once again, very happy Kargil Vijay Divas to each one of you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir, for the most inspiring and motivating speech. The Kargil War has become an unforgettable event in the history of India. Nevertheless, this was an event that brought about feelings of patriotism in the hearts of every Indian like never before. The brave struggle of the Indian soldiers will continue to be an inspiration for all the citizens of this country. They lived for their country and did not hesitate before devoting their lives to it. These names are shining examples for the generations to come. We must possess patriotism and work hard for our motherland to see it succeed. Jai Hind.
ജീവാമൃതം ജയ ഭാരതാംബയ്ക്കു വന്ദനം ജനകോടികൾക്കു ജീവാമൃതം ജയ ഭാരതാംബയ്ക്കു വന്ദനം ഹൃദയമേ ഹൃദയമേ ഉണരുമീ വേളയിൽ പ്രാണനും ജീവവായുവും ഭാരതാംബയാമമ്മേ ഭാരതാമോചന ധീരദേശാഭിമാനികളെ സലാം ചോരയും വീര്യവും ജീവനും ത്യജിച്ച യോദ്ധാക്കളെ സലാം ഹൃദയമേ ഹൃദയമേ ഉണരുമീ വേളയിൽ ജനകോടികൾക്കു ജീവാമൃതം ജയ ഭാരതാംബയ്ക്കു വന്ദനം ജനകോടികൾക്കു ജീവാമൃതം ജയ ഭാരതാംബയ്ക്കു വന്ദനം ജയ കിസാനോ ജയ ജവാനോ ജയ കിസാനോ ജയ ജവാൻ ജയ കിസാനോ ജയ ജവാനോ ജയ കിസാനോ ജയ ജവാൻ ജയ 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 ദേശം ജയ 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 ഭാരതം ജനകോടികൾക്ക് ജീവാമൃതം ജയ ഭാരതാംബയ്ക്ക് വന്ദനം ജനകോടികൾക്ക് ജീവാമൃതം ജയ ഭാരതാംബയ്ക്ക് വന്ദനം ഗാന്ധി മാർഗം അഹിംസയിൽ മനം ചേർത്തു വച്ചൊരീ